Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Another look here at XMR. Haven't touched on this one in a little while. We have our larger, more macro fib levels pulled up. We can see a lot of liquidation. We're going to talk about that potential reality as well as just where we're at, because this coin honestly looking quite bullish compared to the majority of other coins. And here today, even though it pulled back like Bitcoin did, it's recovered quite swiftly. So really good stuff here, likely breakout. We're going to talk about that. So I do want to say thank you to my community members who requested this. Who was it? XMR. Thank you, Buttered Toast. It's a cool name, by the way. Appreciate that. This is one of our newer pioneer members here. So welcome on board. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the charts and kind of see what's going on here. And generally where we like to start is the daily time frame. Granted, we can kind of, since we haven't touched on this for a while, we can kind of look at the weekly chart as well. Just quickly identify a few things. We can see that we're kind of coming up on a resistance level for a more recent time frame. So we're just going to kind of put that on the charts here and kind of see what's going on, or more so just pay attention to it, because the weekly candle has never closed above 177 as of January. So as of last year, that's January of last year, we've been a year and a half, almost a year and 3/4 below that level. Okay, so just know that's kind of a big deal. And then what we also want to look at here too is the SMAs on the monthly, or correction, the weekly here, and kind of see where we're at. So first things first, let's go ahead and turn off a few of these other distracting indicators and just recognize that we're above all moving averages. That's a very fantastic sign. Very few coins right now are actually above those levels. Okay, so excellent, check number one. We take a look here as well. We're over 50 on the RSI. MACD recently converged, stochastic swinging up. There's a lot of reasons why this coin has good momentum and will probably continue higher in the overall sense, right? Now, granted, we could very well be starting a cup and handle pattern. There's a chance of that, depending on how we test this 177 resistance. But the truth is, things are looking pretty good, all right? So the weekly looks fantastic. Let's quickly double check the daily time frame and kind of go from there. We're over all moving averages as well, so it shows that 160 is a good support range for us. We do kind of zoom out a little bit. We can see the RSI is in great shape, stochastic swinging up. Money flow index is high, and so is the MACD itself. So this is basically every single check mark here, letting us know we got more room for growth, but also a lot of strength here. And the fact that we're retesting this current resistance, this recent resistance at 173, it's a very, very good sign. Okay. So 4-hour time frame, let's quickly look at this here and see. Again, above all moving averages, we're honoring our ascending trend here that's running concurrent with the SMA 20, which to me is a really, really good trend setter, letting us know that we are definitely on the right side of the tracks. When we take a look at the RSIs here, we can kind of see that we are tapering off of that 70 to 60 range. So generally speaking, we can see we have a bit of an overextension. A pullback would make sense here, but it's not going to be a monumental pullback. It'll probably be a smaller retracement that's able to bounce off the next either key fib level or most recent high. We'll identify that here in a minute, but we're looking here at the 4-hour to finish these oscillators. We can see everything's looking pretty good. While we are tapering off a little bit on the MACD, there's a decent chance we're probably going to see the price continue higher from here. Okay, now what we generally want to look for here is a couple of things. First of all, this golden pocket based on macro fibs, this little area here, sometimes you'll see a bounce off that range. So the price doesn't pull back, it would be sensible for it to bounce off that local area. If we do zoom out a little bit here, let's go ahead and see what our local point of control is since we've been in this range. We can see we have a lot of control at about 168, which is concurrent in a lot of ways with this this golden pocket, right? So if you're not familiar, 0.618, 0.65, that's a golden pocket, commonly referred to as this really nice support or resistance zone. Since we're above it at this point and we have more volume below us, we can presume that 165 to 168 will be a solid bouncing point if the price pulls back. That's generally what we're looking at there. Again, the likelihood of the price pulling back, I wouldn't say it's dramatically high, but it's certainly getting, it's increasing, right? In other words, we're at a 7 on TD sequential. We've been running for a solid, 20 to 30 hours straight without correction, coming up to a fib level and or that macro resistance. It would make sense for the price action to either flag out or just in general pull back a little bit to the most recent high. Again, the most recent high is usually a common bouncing point. So when we take a look here, we can kind of recognize that we're in pretty good shape to be able to see the price likely bounce off that area. Okay. Now again, this is no guarantee, of course. I always like to give hypotheticals in my analysis. So hypothetically, we're at the beginning of a cup and handle. Okay. There's a potential chance of that. So at this point here, things are looking pretty solid. It may not pull back. It may continue to push through this resistance level, but the overall sentiment is pretty bullish. Let's quickly look at liquidation 2, just to zoom out, kind of give you perspective. We have since swept this previous liquidation level, so of course that's already satisfied and taken care of. There's a lot of liquidation on the downside too, and there's also a previous small bit here between 180 and 185. So I would think that the likelihood of the price coming up here to this level, pulling back to retest that more recent resistance as a new support, is pretty high. Again, keep in mind we're going to need some volume to get through this level, but there's a solid amount of volume in the last, 1 to 2 weeks worth of trading. So this is a very, very good sign overall. If we look at the hourly, we're going to probably likely confirm that we are above the cloud and looking pretty good here. So we can see here, yep, we're above the cloud, lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline, and the cloud is aggregating right here, averaging itself out at that local support, again, previous high, likely the new support level here at 171. So me personally, I think an entry in the 171 and 172 range is a logical consideration at this point, especially if the price ends up pulling back and retracing. Keep in mind, it could, secondary to that, pull back to this 167 mark. That is the next key fib level there. That's at 0.65 fib. So this little area here is going to be a nice little support range for us. So what I'll do is I'll post our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, giving you perspective on the areas of support, which to me right now seems pretty logical. Just based on the larger time frames, we can kind of see here that this little area should provide a lot of support for us. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do enter that zone, come up here, sweep some liquidation, and then inevitably consolidate at 177 and go higher. Those are just things I like to look for. Does it always work out that way? Definitely not. But with a potential cup and handle pattern here forming, the probability is becoming higher. The fact that we have retested this range, we're now above our fair value gap, or sorry, correction, our larger macro point of control, as well as that key golden pocket Fibonacci retracement level. It just seems logical the price is going to continue further up. Again, if it pulls back first, that would be great. Get in a little bit lower. If it doesn't pull back, then heaven forbid, the price just continues higher. Worst case scenario, your long position still adds a little padding. Right, so again, that's kind of where we're at. I hope that makes sense. I described that correctly. Obviously, if you have any comments, love to hear it. Comment below, and more importantly, just hit the like button. Deeply appreciate that. Helps get this in front of more people, so less moon boys get the views, which isn't bad. I don't mind that they get views. It's just I do mind when they start wrecking and destroying people's accounts because they're so high risk that they diminish the values of what trading should be, which is conservative, risk tolerance, making sure that you're not leveraging your house when you take a trade. That's just dumb. Anyways, thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.